Maybe I should announce it, shall I? In memory of a free festival.
In the beginning of 1969, following his breakup with Hermione, Bowie moved into an apartment in Beckenham, a neighborhood in Greater London. There, he became involved with the hippie underground, but never really fit in. His main hippie endeavor was an arts lab he formed, called Growth. The Arts Lab was a late 60s invention, a center that housed several media, such as cinema, theater, and music, giving expression to local artists. Bowie's Arts Lab became quite popular in Beckenham, and in August of '69, the members of Growth decided to arrange a local open-air free festival. It happened at the same time that another free festival, Woodstock, took place across the Atlantic, but it was on a much smaller scale, lasting only a few hours. Memory of a Free Festival was written to commemorate this event. But, as always with Bowie, it's about more than just this one event. It can actually stand for any of the love-ins of the late 60s. The love-in was an open-air happening, in which youngsters would gather, sometimes for 2-3 days, to enjoy musical performances and other cultural activities, forming a self-contained mini-society for the duration. It aimed to be a microcosm of the perfect society that the counterculture aspired to bring, to show that people can live together in peace and harmony, in which everyone gives of his own to the community. Within the love-in, you were supposed to free yourself from the shackles of the materialistic world in favor of a society based on spiritual exchange and be immersed in a feeling of brotherhood and love towards your fellow humans.
The children of the summer's end gathered in the dampened grass. We played our songs and felt the London sky resting on our hands. It was God's land. It was rugged and naive. It was heaven.
The first verse describes the wondrous feeling in a love-in, the heavenly utopian state you enjoy. But Bowie is playing us here. If you listen more closely, you realize that things aren't as rosy as they appear to be on the surface. The song is in past tense, talking of a love that has dissipated. When he talks of the children of the summer's end, he could simply be referring to the fact that the festival was in late August, but he could also be hinting that the summer of love is over, and its children, the hippies, are living an illusion if they think that they are still on the way to the ultimate utopia. And gathered in the dampened grass means either that the children gathered on a wet field, or that they collected their drugs, that are no longer as potent as they used to be. Right away, it infuses the whole piece with a heavy sense of irony.
We touch the very soul of holding each and every life. We claim the very source of joy ran through. It didn't, but it seemed that way. I kissed a lot of people that day.
Feeling the unity and love between them, the festival's patrons feel that they are also touching the source of life, that they are expressing an eternal truth. This was also a common perception in the 60s. The love-in was also called be-in, to show that through it you achieve authenticity, that you are the way you ought to be, that love-in is also being. Why did they feel this way? Because this is how we are conditioned to feel. The Western mind is shaped by the Christian tradition, which claims that all souls emanate from God, and that God is love. Therefore, when they felt love surging through them, they automatically assumed that they are in connection with the eternal source, although they generally substituted God with the universe as that eternal loving being that we are all part of. This is the assumption that lay at the heart of the hippie ideology, the belief that they have managed to unlock the door to the source of eternal love, and now that they did, this love will spread and unify the entire human race in one big brotherhood of man. But Bowie is bursting this bubble. He parrots the rhetoric of the hippies, but then he says that it was all an illusion. The fact that you feel love doesn't mean that you found any eternal truth. This is the sham that Bowie is exposing. It's not that he thinks that the hippies' love was unreal. He does indeed believe that they felt love, and there is no irony in his description of it. But what he doesn't accept is the belief that through it they connect it to any universal and eternal truth. Love exists within the confines of human interaction, and does not connect them to any external source of life which is there for all humans. A loving spirit can unify a certain number of people for a certain amount of time, but others will remain impervious to it, and eventually it will die.
Oh, to capture just one drop of all the ecstasy that swept that afternoon, to paint that love upon a white balloon, and fly it from the toppest top of all the tops that man has pushed beyond his brain. Satori must be something just the same.
Again, the fact that love doesn't connect us to any eternal truth doesn't mean that it isn't real. Love is wonderful, and he wants to capture that joyous experience for us, but he doesn't find the words. Ecstasy, by its nature, is beyond description, beyond logic. If only he could succeed in capturing it logically, it would be a breakthrough, a new level of consciousness. And here, I believe, lies the crux of Bowie's position. He doesn't just expose the error of the hippie perception of love, but he is also trying to create an alternative. He wants to uncover the secret of love, the thing that generates this feeling, so that he can revive it. If he succeeds in this task, he imagines it would be similar to Satori, the moment of enlightenment in Zen Buddhism, a moment of recognition that transforms your existence into a joyous one. But he is unable to reach this recognition.
We scanned the skies with rainbow eyes and saw machines of every shape and size. We talked with tall Venusians passing through, and Peter tried to climb aboard, but the captain shook his head, and away they soared, climbing through the ivory vibrant cloud. Someone passed in bliss among the crowd, and we walked back to the road, unchained.
We scanned the skies with rainbow eyes seems like a Wizard of Oz reference. They were looking for the place over the rainbow, a different kind of existence which is more beautiful than their own Londoner life. What they saw instead were aliens from outer space, who were drawn to their love and came to join the party. This is of course metaphorical. The aliens represent a higher level of consciousness and knowledge, but they refuse to share it with the humans. We'll have to get there ourselves. And so the festival ends, and its participants go back to their everyday life, but for the moment they feel unchained, as if the experience had freed their mind. And so they sing. The sun has always been a symbol of enlightenment, and in 60s psychedelic records it represented the thing we aspire to reach, the moment we are waiting for. Take, for instance, The Doors' Waiting for the Sun, the Beatles' Here Comes the Sun, or Pink Floyd's Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun. Bowie closes his record in the same vein, with a rousing ode to the coming of the sun. However, it is not the sun that he is awaiting, but a sun machine. And this, I believe, hints that Bowie surmises that the thing that will bring us love is not something natural which we are supposed to discover, but something that we are supposed to create. And in that, too, Bowie is providing us with a glimpse to his future work. So, we find, Bowie did share the hippie yearning to bring love to the world, but he rejects their perception of how this love should be reached, and formulates a different perception. The hippies believe that love is already part of us, that it is the natural order of things, and the reason we don't feel it is because Western civilization went against nature and severed our connection with the source. To live a true, free and happy life, we simply got to get ourselves back to the garden. That is, we have to free ourselves from technology, from the ego and from Western rationality, and go back to the primal state of unity with nature and with each other. Bowie, on the other hand, believes that love has to be generated, that it is the result of certain actions we take. To bring it about, we must therefore explore and find out what generates it, and then create our way of life accordingly. What, then, is the key that opens the door to this joyous love state? What brings it about? To that, Bowie doesn't have an answer yet, and this would be one of the questions that will drive him on in the coming years. What he does tell us here is that it has something to do with aliens. If you can somehow generate the love state, aliens would come and join you in it. It will take Bowie 2.5 more years to realize that the order of the last sentence should simply be reversed.